And next year, we're adding two games, guys. We're up to 84 games in the NHL next year. We're adding two and starting in September.
Wow. So, Bucci, a lot of talk about the ABA ratings, but the Stanley Cup final ratings and NHL playoff ratings in general were up. What do you attribute it to?
Well, I'm not sure about the new math these TV networks are using for ratings. I mean, everything is up. But I always felt, even our Sports Center numbers back in the day, I always thought they were deflated. There's no way you can tell me some of the numbers we would get on the Sports Center, 11 o'clock and 1 a.m. Is like, there's no way there's 600,000 people watching. I mean, you guys know what it's like when you go in the public and people, and how many, the reaction you get and the people who talk about Sports Center. I always thought that was way underreported, especially back in the day on Sports Center. And I just think, so maybe it is more accurate nowadays, but we'll have to wait and see till next year in all these sports who are setting records, if that's the case. But there's no doubt the NHL, I went to Home Depot yesterday looking for blinds. I kind of renovated my house. I need some blinds. I guess someone to come out and measure them. And I heard two guys in the paint department talking about the Stanley Cup final at Home Depot. I never heard that in my life. I mean, it's really interesting. A guy, I had a little outdoor patio furniture delivered. He's talking about game 1 and game 2. Like, you really have, so the league is definitely, with the Olympics and the 4 nations, I think it did light a fire a little bit. And again, don't forget, we've been in California and Florida and Texas now for 15, 20 years. Yeah. The league is actually more diverse than it's ever been. The game's in places it's never been before. From age 15 to 80, people watch. A lot of women into hockey as well. So it's really a sport that is on the rise. But again, as you guys know how crowded it is, you got to keep your foot in the gas because there's a lot of competition out there. But right now, so far, so good. To get a peak of 7 million for a Carolina-Vegas game, back when we started ESPN, there wasn't a Carolina or a Vegas. And no one could ever imagine, hey, imagine a Stanley Cup final with Vegas and Carolina. I mean, you couldn't even imagine that in 1996, right? And here we are.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that ratings thing, that's 2149 deflating the numbers for contract negotiations. No doubt.
How are you?
Tortorella, were you surprised? I mean, he comes in, or is he kind of like Thibodeau, where it's like, you know what, you can only take just, he doesn't listen to anybody else. All right, thank you, but we're not spending a whole season with you.
Oh, geez, 8 games in the playoffs. But no, I wasn't surprised. I think this was Vegas's plan all along. They had this dude down in the minors, Ryan Craig, who began as an assistant coach the first year of Vegas. He was there for 6 years, and then he went in the minors these last 3 years in Henderson, right out the road in the AHL team. And so I think that was their plan. The Cassidy thing, they made the decision. Let's hire Torts. He's a short-term guy. Let's see how he does. I don't think they expected probably deep down to get within 2 wins of the Cup, but there they were. Like, had they won, would they really not have brought Torts back? I mean, come on. But but Vegas is different than anybody else. They're kind of like Al Davis and the Raiders back in the day. They're kind of the outlaw organization in the NHL. They do what they want to do. And this young particular fella goes back, Kelly McCrimmon, the GM of Vegas. Craig goes back with him to junior hockey when he was a player, and McCrimmon was the GM of that team. So I think they've developed this guy to be their next head coach, and that was the plan. We'll bring in Torch short term, give him a big check to coach 8 regular season games. Let's see how he does in the postseason, and then we'll bring this kid up and kind of start over next year fresh. So I was not surprised. Now I'm curious, though, if he might do this again next year. This might become a thing for Torts. He turns 68 in a week. Do people bring him in late in the year, like a really good team who feels like they're flat, and have him come in and give them a jolt? I know Torts would probably like to start fresh. Training camp, build the culture, hire your own assistants, and just be on the journey with the guys. I don't think he'd really like to make this a habit. But it appears now, unless he is interested in Edmonton, but I think Mike Babcock's going to get that job. Toronto filled their position today, so there aren't any openings right now. So he might have to wait next year for the first or second firing, because Bruce Cassidy, who Vegas fired, is probably first on the clock if someone sacks their head coach early next year off to a slow start. But, Torts is right there. After what he did, he's got to get some interest next year if somebody fires their coach.
Bucci, we did a lot of great Saturday night sports centers together back in the day before I moved to LA. But it's clear that more so than being a generalist, like hockey is your real passion, not both the NHL and college hockey. Just what has the game meant to your career?
Well, it's certainly given me longevity at ESPN. I don't think I'd still be there had we not got the rights fees back in 2022. Just signed another 2-year contract, so I'll be there at least for another 2 years. That's all 7 years of the NHL. That's the last 2 years of our deal. We signed a 7-year deal in 2022. I had 1 year left when we got it. I signed a 4-year deal and now a 2-year deal. So this gets me to the end because that's pretty much what I'm here for now. And then we'll see what happens. If we keep it, we'll see if they keep me. If it goes somewhere else, then I would probably look there because I don't think I have a future of ESPN without hockey. But no, it's been great. I grew up loving all 4 sports. To me, most kids in America, it's football, baseball, and basketball. But because my dad was from Boston, even though I was raised in Pennsylvania and Ohio, because he was from Boston and he was in his 30s at the time, and Bobby Orr and the Bruins were rock stars in Boston at the time. They were like Tom Brady and the Patriots, 04 Red Sox, Celtics with Bird, then KG, Pierce, and Ray Allen. That was the Bruins in the early 70s. So that was very impressionable for me that he would follow this sport. So I collected hockey cards and basketball, football, baseball. I could always skate. I played a little bit of pickup hockey. There was no organized youth hockey growing up in Ohio and Pennsylvania in the 70s. But I always knew the game and enjoyed the game, and got to ESPN. And about 2 years in, I got to fill in for Bill Pito on NHL Tonight during the playoffs because we went 7 days a week.
What do you have?
What do you have, Bucci? Of course, Billy's the guy why he hosted NHL Tonight would be watching the Knick games. So I can imagine what this championship meant to him. So when I would fill in for him during the playoffs, people are like, this guy actually likes and knows hockey. He's watching the hockey games, not the Knicks. So I filled in, and then Billy actually wanted to get off the show. He wanted his, he understood ESPN. If you want your notoriety and maybe even long-term investment as an anchor, being on the NHL Tonight wasn't really it. You weren't getting a lot of eyeballs. You were kind of put on ice during the long hockey season. You wanted to do SportsCenter. And they were prime time. He had to run in prime time, and so he asked off the show, and that was a great opportunity for me in the fall of '98. Then of course we lost hockey though in '04. But then my boys started playing hockey because raising them in Connecticut, they played all sports and hockey was one of them, and they got into it. Then I started writing a hockey column on ESPN.com after we lost the rights in '04. And that became a little popular because I was kind of wrote from an American pop culture standpoint, and most of Canadian journalism or hockey journalism was Canadian, very serious, very old school. And so I brought a little bit of flavor. So that was cool. And then '06, I remember going to our bosses and say, hey, can I call one of these NCAA regional games in Worcester and Bridgeport and Springfield? Right. It's free because I just have a contract. I'll go do them. You don't have to pay me extra or go hire somebody and pay them. So I said, yeah, go ahead, Bucci, have at it. And then so I did that starting in '06.
The old ESPN freebie. They're not turning any of those down.
No, absolutely. I could drive to Worcester. I didn't even charge them gas. I didn't know what a show code was back then. So, it was on the house. It was literally on the house. And that was awesome. And then after doing that for 7 years, I asked if I could do the Frozen Four. That was 2013. And now here we are. I did my, 12th this April. So I've done 12 national championship games. And it's so cool to do an NCAA national championship game because you're with these kids' life forever. Like you're in their scrapbook, their video scrapbook. They're going to play this goal or this win for their kids and then their grandkids, and it's going to be your voice. So that's what I love about the play-by-play is you're kind of a part of a history book for these particular families. Maybe not in a mass wide appeal thing. Occasionally your voice will pop up when someone, plays it on social media now, which is cool. And then on ESPN, but you're really being a part of these families' lives forever. That's the intimacy of college hockey I like. The coaches aren't filthy rich. They don't make $1 million a year, much less millions of dollars a year. They're very relatable. The kids are very relatable. They're actually, very good students. Excellent graduation rates for the men and women of college hockey. So it's just a really cool, intimate, kind of boutique part of my job that I really enjoy. And then to get the NHL back, like I said, in 2022, that was so cool. And to be able to start calling play-by-play games of the NHL, that's just a dream come true. Because as a kid, turn the sound down on the TV and speak into a tape recorder and broadcast all kinds of different sports and games. I started this at a young age, so it's been, the timing could not have been better for me, for sure.
And the Bucci Overtime Challenge too on social media.
Yeah, that part was such an unexpected thing, Stan. Like, the Twitter, first it was the Bucci thing, which just unexpectedly went crazy. And I started selling merchandise, and it's still going now. I thought it would fade away by now. I kind of hoped it would, but it won't. And so I think people are relying on it. And so I got to watch all these games. And I didn't have a T-shirt this year. I just kind of sent the Barry Melrose ball markers that I had made a couple years ago for Barry. But I'm going to make a fresh T-shirt, kind of like a 17th anniversary T-shirt of the Bucci Overtime Challenge next year, and start sending those out, because it's been as rewarding for me to make that connection with the fans. And I was able to kind of make a social media connection. And then the hashtag college hockey thing kind of happened. So it's interesting, a lot of these current players, even though we didn't have the rights package at ESPN, all the current players, the guys like 25 to 31, like Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel, they grew up with me on social media. So even they didn't have to watch Sports Center because they saw the Bucci Overtime Challenge and then college hockey. And so when they see me at a rink, it's given me kind of a status among them, which was really cool when we got the NHL back, because they would come up to me, some I didn't recognize, some of the guys who weren't superstars in college, because they got their buckets on. You don't know what they look like. And then they get older and get haircuts and stuff. But that's been really cool to make that connection with those guys, Eichel and Matthews and that age group, because that's where they grew up with me on Twitter and X. And just kind of my hockey tweets, the goals, the Bucci Overtime Challenge thing, and then the college hockey. So it's really been a gift. I know social media can be pretty toxic and terrible, but for me, I've connected with fans. I've been able to create my own little brands, and not in a really on purpose way, a complete accidental way, just kind of born out of fun. I've always liked to have fun, like you guys hanging around the pod at Sports Center, coming up with these little trivia games, and like that's what I've always, Gus Ramsey was great at that. I always did that. Like in college, I would have the top 10 intramural teams on the cafeteria door. I would rank them: USA Today top intramural teams, Heidelberg College, and people couldn't wait every Monday till I had the latest top 10 rankings of the intramural basketball league. Like I just liked always doing that stuff, make believe and make it feel big and make it feel like the big leagues, whether I wrote for the school newspaper or covered the intramural rankings. And that's what happened with just the Bucci and college hockey. Just kind of have fun and make it kind of a fun connective tissue thing.
Yeah, I only, I knew icing went on a cake, and I didn't know anything else about hockey till I got back there. And one of my fondest memories with you, John, is I believe we were at Bob Escher's fundraiser up near Cooperstown. I can't even remember the name, they called the area, but
it's Cooperstown.
There was an auction.
Yeah.
Okay, there was an auction, and there was a Sidney Crosby jersey.
Yes.
And you said, I really want to get that for my son, and I could really feel how much it meant to you, and you got it.
Yeah.
And then you
deal.
told me later it was above his. It was above his bed.
Yes.
In his room as he grew up, and I just always thought that was a cool father-son moment that I was able to kind of witness. And I knew you had the backyard rink, I think, back then too. I don't know if you still do. And
no.
But anyhow, I just remember I remember that was a father-son moment, and I think it speaks to what you're speaking about hockey. It's so familial.
Yes.
It's like the hockey fans are in it together, yeah, it's a great group. It's the most loyal group of fans I believe there to be.
it's a difficult sport to play. It's a difficult sport to get your kid to practice, right? Like you have to tie their skates. There's a bunch of equipment. It's cold. There's Jack there on the backyard rink. That was a 60 by 40 backyard rink because it was a 60 by 40 little basketball court. And I'd put a big liner, 2x6s around those little yellow things, pinch the liner over the boards to keep it in place. And that's Jack is probably 12 years old. Just amazing memories. Connecticut, you're kind of on the borderline. You know, a couple winters were mild. We might have had 5 skates. And then on a cold winter, we might have 35 skates. But yeah, that backyard rink, and like I said, it just how hockey, like I said, hockey was just one of the sports I loved as a kid. I was actually more of a baseball guy early. And then I became a basketball guy because I was good and pretty good in high school. I got recruited to play Division III, and our high school team went to the Sweet 16 in Ohio. So Larry Bird and basketball was my life, kind of as a teenager in high school. And then like I said, at ESPN, just having everything come together, getting the show, having a historical knowledge and base of the sport, because it was always one of the ones I followed. Then my kids start playing. I build the backyard rink. And I start writing this column where I write not only about hockey, but really about my family, about my kids playing hockey, about being a hockey parent, and how difficult it is getting up early, tying those skates. And that's why a lot of hockey players, I think, are kind of humble and good people, because they tend to come from 2-parent families because you have to. You don't have time, right? You can't, it's just, you got to get the kid there. It's not, like you said, it wasn't terribly expensive for us. It was like 3 payments of $330 to play at your local rink. And that's September to March, 2 practices and 2 games. I thought it was great value for exercise, being around kids your age, a little discipline, great, like I said, great cardiovascular. It's a difficult task. I wanted my kids to do difficult things, whether it's a musical instrument or, a foreign language. I wasn't great in that department. I wish I was more strict there. Playing a difficult sport, like hockey, that's great for kids to have a difficult task. And then to be able to, skate backwards and do this, it's like, man, that's really good. And I think it's good for them. And so it was a cool little community to be a part of. It was fun to write about it on ESPN.com. Like I said, a few of those would go viral, and that was always exciting and kind of fun to make those connections. So yeah, it really became an amazing gift. Like I said, it's given me 30 years at ESPN when normally it probably wouldn't have. I always had that niche. I think that's one reason why they kept me around for so long too, just in case they got hockey back. They had to keep me and Levy on ice just in case we got the NHL back. Let's keep those boys right over that corner. And you never know, we could get, because a couple times we almost got it. We went for kind of a soft push, then we went for a really hard push. I think it was like maybe 2016 or 17. We went really hard for it, but didn't get it. And like I said, that worked out. But again, that probably worked out well for me, because then I went to SportsCenter, and eventually, that last 2010 to 2019, 2012 to 2019, that was a good SportsCenter run for me. In Connecticut, as you guys eventually went to LA, me and John Anderson had a nice little run. We had a billboard in Times Square, SportsCenter at 11. Someone took a picture and sent it to me. We did some SportsCenter commercials. They had an ad campaign. So that was kind of cool for 5-6 years to be part of that and part of that tradition. And so, yeah, so I'm glad I got in the early stages to be involved with the NHL. Then I'm kind of glad it left, because then I start this hockey column. I can write more freely because they're not a rights partner, anymore. And then it gets me on the SportsCenter, exposure as well, which you guys know is important for longevity, for salary, for everything. Those are important steps, and they get you to a place. And then if you just keep showing up, and the 401k gets bigger, and then we're blessed with a pension and these things, like, man, that's just a huge blessing. And then for it to come back late, just when I'm kind of fading down the stretch, I'm 10 lengths back, here comes Bucci again. Okay, we got the NHL back. So saved by the bell. And but no, man, I'm having a great time still. The kids are grown. I got a grandkid now who's 1.5 years, and so life's different. And in some ways, my job is more important. I'm more focused on my job now than I've ever been, because I got the time. I got nothing else to do.
Right.
You mentioned Barry. Can you tell us anything about Barry? We think about him often.
Yeah, obviously diagnosed with Parkinson's about 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago. He worked about a year with it. I'm not sure really if it's exactly Parkinson's. I think it might be. I don't know what's going on, but he's at a memory care center now in Ohio, which kind of makes me sad, right? Like, I mean, is he getting visited every day? Is there days where he's lonely? What does he think about? And so yeah, but he's out there near the Cincinnati area, where his wife grew up. They met. Barry played for the Cincinnati Stingers in the WHA, and Cindy Melrose was a cheerleader for the Cincinnati Stingers. That's where they met. She grew up in Oxford, Ohio, where Miami University, the campus of Miami University, is just off campus there. It's a very rural, farm-like little town. And so, as things got harder with Barry and they were in Florida, she wanted to move back closer to the family, get some help, obviously, and then eventually, moved into a memory care center. So I just hope that, we'll see what happens. But overall, I'm going to head out there soon and visit him. Other people have seen him, and, there's obviously times he trails off a little bit, but overall, he's still Barry, and still, absolute cool as the
Coolest
rule.
guy in the room.
Cool as the rule, as you would always introduce him. I know we got a big kick out of that, Neil. Every time you guys did the hockey segment, you could see he kind of lit up. And you guys know, Barry was always on time. He was always early. He was always in his suit. Everybody liked him. He was quiet. He was shy. For being as almost, loud and bombastic and so good on television, on the air, he looked great, sounded great. As you know, he was kind of kept to himself, a little shy, a little bit of an introvert, just a farm boy from Saskatchewan with no indoor plumbing until he was like 12. The things he saw on the farm, his dad gutting pigs and doing whatever at a young age. Oh my gosh, just a different world he grew up in on the farms of Saskatchewan. So his whole life was hockey. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He dedicated his entire life to hockey, and they're trying to change the bylaws so an analyst can get in, not just the play-by-play. These things should be easy to do. I don't know if he could enjoy it now. I get a feeling he still could, but I always wish they were a little more proactive on things like that.
Yeah, create a contributor category and make him the inaugural one.
It's not that hard. Yeah, it's one sentence and a bylaw. This stuff is not difficult. It's really not.
Yeah. When's the last time you had chicken parm?
I had it last week. Here at home. I make my own. It's
a whole week.
I know. I wanted Italian mac and cheese tonight, which is phenomenal. Sweet Italian sausage, shells, cheese, sauce. Let it sit for 20 minutes. Oh, it's delicious, and it reheats the next day. So, but yeah, the chicken parm. I usually probably have that about once. It's a long process, so I got to have the energy. So I'll say once every 10 days we do the hometown parm.
One other food question for you. When is the last time you did the Bucci Bucket of Chicken Challenge? For people who don't know, one of the highlights of the year doing SportsCenter is once a year, Bucci would eat an entire bucket of KFC in the newsroom. When was the last time you had a whole bucket of chicken?
Right, and that started because Stan didn't think I could do it. People look at skinny people like me and say, he can't eat a bucket of chicken. Are you kidding me? My stomach can expand. We're dangerous, the lean guys who can eat. And so that's that. I went down the local there in Queen Street, got my 13-piece bucket of chicken, and that started a tradition once a year. And everyone would autograph the bucket, all because Stan thought I couldn't do it. First couple, I really struggled and suffered. I learned to fast on bucket of chicken night, so I wouldn't eat all day. That made it easier. But it's actually been a couple of years now. It just seems like, you're not working with you or Scotty. He got a big kick out of that as well.
At our age, you might die.
You could die. That's possible. So we got to be careful. Unless there's a defibrillator nearby, probably shouldn't do it. A lot of salt, dehydration, a possibility. But I should do it one more time before I do my last SportsCenter.
You mentioned you played basketball. You were a baseball guy first, then basketball, got into hockey. We've been talking, I don't know, half hour, and you have yet to say the word golf.
Yeah.
And I remember you as a big time golfer, and now I'm working with a big time golfer, Stan.
I'm
not big time like this guy.
I think he's a bigger time golfer than me.
And I just watched his ball go. I mean, can you still hit it 300?
Not quite 300, but for my age, I'm still long. Like I'm longer than most, and actually, people younger than me, I sometimes, so I can still get it out there a little bit. Not quite, again, as far as I used to, not as high as I used to. It's lower and hotter. So I'll carry it 190 and roll it 65 more yards, And, but no, I still love to play. I got as low as a 1 handicap. I'm like a 6.6 right now. I haven't belonged to a club in a long time, like 6 years. So that kind of hurts. I miss that, going to play 9 or hitting balls at a range. It's harder these days. There's fewer and fewer golf ranges around America because they don't make very much money and they use the land for other things. So, but I still enjoy getting out playing a couple days a week, 1 or 2 times a week. Love the history, love the majors, love architecture. Yeah, I played high school as a senior, and then I played college my junior and senior year. There wasn't a team when I went to Heidelberg College, and they started one my sophomore year as a club. Then it was a varsity sport my junior, senior year, and then I really enjoyed playing. In ESPN when I got there in 96, 97, right around that time, 97, 98, we all joined the same golf course in West Hartford, Wampanoag. And it was just great memories. We all worked nights. We'd all go there at 10 o'clock, Monday through Friday. We all worked weekends too. So we never really played weekends. But so many great memories of playing these matches. And always somebody, like 15 to 17 of us joined, including Mike Tirico, Carl Ravitch. Eventually, I was up there putting. It was 2004. I'm on the putting green, just practicing. I look around, I realize I was the last one left. Everybody else had moved on, either left ESPN or went to Avon, left the club, and so I was the last one there. So I left for a couple years and then joined a course closer to my house where I raised my kids in South Windsor, Ellington Ridge, and I was a member there. But since I left there in 2020 and moved back to Massachusetts, I haven't belonged anywhere. So I played, the game has slipped a little bit, but I still love it, and it's just a great, as Stan knows, you meet the most amazing people. There's manners, there's etiquette, there's that personal drive to try to get better, to try to get a good score going, get off to a good start, make the turn at a number that you don't always see, and kind of give that purpose on the back nine. That's always a great feeling.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm in Chicago right now, and I played today at Medina.
Wow.
Which is going to host the President's Cup this year.
Wow. Didn't realize that.
A buddy of mine was at a charity auction. He bid on a foursome, won the bid, and we had Kurt Kittner, who's a University of Illinois quarterback legend, played for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yep.
Boo. But he was our host today, and we played in the rain here in Chicago at Medina, and it was unbelievable. It started raining. We're like, hey man, how many times are we get to play Medina? We're gonna keep playing.
Nice.
And so we played in the rain, and it was fantastic. And like you said, it's a friend-making machine. I mean, Kurt just texted me a few minutes ago. I met him this morning, and like we're best of friends now.
Yeah.
After spending that time at the golf course, and then cigar afterwards, and all of a sudden you're best of friends. Gary Player said golf is a friend-making machine.
I've never heard that phrase. That's a great phrase. And Chicago is one of the great golf cities of America that I've yet to play. I played Cog Hill with John Anderson a couple of years ago. We flew to Chicago, played Cog Hill because he had a friend who worked there. Then we played Milwaukee Country Club, which is a top 100. Then we went to Green Bay to see a Steeler-Packer game because I'm a big Steeler fan. Wow. That was a great 3-day weekend. But Chicago, again, that's the only course I played. Medina, Chicago Golf Club, Shore Acres, Butler, Olympia Fields. It is loaded, and that's one place I haven't played.
Playing Chicago tomorrow, Olympia Fields Friday.
You're playing Chicago Golf Club tomorrow?
I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I am.
Oh my God. That's top 10. That is top 10 stuff. That's
and then Olympia
amazing.
Fields Friday. I mean, this is the golf trip of all golf trips right now.
That is phenomenal. Chicago, Long Island are two places you can play 5, 6 top 20 golf courses right in a row.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Now, John, you said so you moved to Massachusetts. So what kind of commute do you have to Bristol, or do you go there rare enough that it's not that big a deal?
Right. That's kind of what the math is. Yeah. I'm not there 5 days a week. So it's 2.5 hours. So it's real. So if I work Monday and Wednesday. Each way. So if I work Monday and Wednesday, I'll drive Monday, come right back, drive Wednesday, come right. Now, if I work Monday, Tuesday, obviously I'll get a hotel. And maybe in the summer, if there's a day off in between, my son still lives in Connecticut, Jack. So I could stay there and play a round of golf with him in the summer. In the winter, though, I want to sleep in my own bed. So, yeah. So, between hockey and just a few sports centers in the summer, I'm really only there like 7-8 days a week, 8-9 days a week. So, a month.
Month.
Yeah. So, and some are even quiet. Like this month's very quiet. All I have this month really is the draft. It's in Buffalo next Friday. So, it's pretty quiet. So, yeah. So I wanted to get ahead of it. We started laying people off at ESPN. I'm like, I want to sell my house and just so whenever they say bye-bye, I'm cut out and I'm gone. So I moved it. I helped out with my parents here. My dad passed away 2022, 4 years ago, but my mom is 94 and a half. So I look after her. I make her breakfast and dinner, walk her to church on Sundays, hold her hand, and take care of Mary here in Massachusetts. And then, like I said, I'll occasionally go to Bristol. And, of course, doing the play-by-play, I can just drive to Boston, Logan, fly the game, and fly back. So that kind of a hybrid studio play-by-play guy. I'd like to get to, if I can, get enough games in a couple years, do just play-by-play, because then you guys, you can live wherever you want. Just fly to the game and come home. So but for now, we still have a mortgage, so we still need to keep that. As long as they'll have me, then I'll have them, and we'll pay off make that mortgage payment every month. So yeah. So at times it's tough, but overall, I have time to refresh. I'm always recharged. It gives me time to prepare, and so yeah, no complaints at all.
Well, next on our rundown, we were going to talk about the U.S. Open, and if you mind hanging out with us?
Yeah, let's do it. Shinnecock, baby.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah. We got Jeff. Jeff's online. He's in an underground bunker at an undisclosed location. There he is.
I might have an 8 to 10 news shift for you, Bucci.
Not as bad as the 4 to 7.
Oh.
1 to 4.
My favorite
please.
ESPN
Sunday.
My favorite ESPN news story is at one time I did the overnight on ESPN News, and then the following day I was the first one on. I think it was at noon or 1 o'clock. I think it was the 1 to 3, right, or 1 to 4.
Yeah, 1 to 4. That happened to me too.
I tossed to myself.
Yes, absolutely. And
I probably wasn't the only one.
One of the schedule people came to me after, was like, this is not supposed to happen, right? And I'm like, no, I didn't, because the schedule would go Sunday to Saturday.
That's all they thought.
The new schedule would go Sunday to Saturday, and if they're not paying attention, that's what winds up happening.
They went 1 week at a time. Yeah.
Must have been going into
vacation. Work 9 in a row. Okay. That's
got to be Sokolowski.
That's not legal, Sokolowski. Thomas Kittner? That's not legal. You can't work
Thomas
9 in a row.
Dave Passera.
I once did a 1 to 4 Sunday ESPN News where you can't show any NFL highlights.
Yep.
So it's just all talking over score panels, and then the golf highlight when they finish up, right? And so it was 1 to 4 solo.
Oh.
And it was my first shift ever at ESPN News, and I got done and I'm like, I had been doing 3 minutes, 3 minutes of local TV, and then you're on for 3 hours by yourself. I'm like, I got to come back tomorrow. I should get a week off after this.
We had no prep days, 5 days a week. The reps that we got, though, I tell you. And you were in radio, so basically it was just a radio show that won the
No, but radio, you had music. I was a DJ. I had music in between. I didn't have to talk the whole time.
You got a 5-minute break.
Like, I'm looking at my watch like, this show will never end.
That was so much fun, that ESPN News. And we came in there, we all bonded so well. And I think the Sports Center people were looking at us like, those guys are having a lot of fun over there. They're actually talking to each other. They like each other. There was obviously the back then, the ESPN thing was very competitive for those Sports Center folk. And they just didn't understand how we were getting along so well and had such a good time laughing. They didn't quite understand that. But it was so much fun. And we talked about, it should have been very competitive because your job and your career is on the line and your next contract is on the line. But I never felt that amongst people. We all kind of pulled for each other. Someone got a good schedule. You didn't get one, then you got one. Maybe they didn't. It kind of went up and down. Those kinds of things can go like this. And then you get a good slot, obviously like you guys did for so long. And then I got a good slot for a while. But I tell people, I got hired in 96. My first regular shift was 09, the noon to 3. And when we first started doing the morning and noon sports centers, that was the first regular shift I had. It took me 13 years to have a regular show shift.
Yeah, I started in 2000, and it wasn't until we got to LA that I had a regular shift.
Yeah.
That was eight and a half years later.
Right.
I think the thing is that we had all felt like we had, outkicked our coverage, and we're like in the building, and it's like, hey, we're all in this together, like
I agree.
we've apparently arrived, and look at us. Can you believe it? And I think we were so just damn happy that we'd landed with how we'd landed on our feet.
Oh, no doubt.
And all different journeys.
Yes.
And here we were, and it's like, yeah.
And the other thing, I think there was a mutual respect because there was nowhere to hide in the box.
No.
I mean, if you didn't know what you were talking about, you could get embarrassed very quickly.
You got exposed for sure. You got exposed because there was a lot of vamping, as they used to say, vamp. I don't know what that word means. Vamp. Stretch. They're not there.
Right.
All those things. And I learned that with ESPN News.
And score panels. You had to have some information over those score panels. It wasn't just do the highlight and move on.
Nope.
You can fake it. You can fake it with a highlight, but you start throwing score panels in on every game where you have to provide additional information, statistics, and
was
and knowing what they mean. It's different.
Trying to do that 11 or 1 o'clock sports center, my gosh, like you said, 3 facts on every score panel. And then when we reached the point where there were no score panels, and now we have, we have these, produce things with virtuals that somebody else even writes. There's so little writing on Sports Center now. I might get one lead in a show, but very rarely.
Yep.
I remember, I came from Hawaii. I'd never done a hockey highlight in my life. and so I'm with Betsy Ross, who's, did not seem that happy to be with me. And so who was the goalie? Eddie for the Rangers, John.
Check.
Eddie. No, Eddie, the goalie, Eddie Giacomin.
Yeah, that's the old time goalie of the 70s. Yep.
Eddie Giacomin.
Yeah.
Okay, so he died or something happened, and I had the story, and I look at her and I go, Eddie Giacomo? And she goes, yep. She says, yep.
No.
And
she said,
and
yep.
So she said yes.
Oh no.
Like she just set me up, and I said it wrong, and then of course, then the wolf's head was in the doorway, Giacomin, and then he quickly disappeared back to his office, and I thought, this might have been my last show, but unfortunately, Betsy Ross was gone before me.
The expansion team had some casualties.
Okay, what do you guys think? Because you guys are big golfers. What do you guys think about this new PGA commissioner? And he's talking about making it almost like making the tour a 2-tier tour, which which seemingly, like the first thing I thought of was, well, then John Daly never wins the U.S. Open because he's not going to be there.
Yeah.
There's
definitely from what I've heard, this guy, I've liked what I've heard so far. He replaced an empty suit, so it wasn't difficult. But yeah, that's part of what happened with the tour, is becoming such an exclusive club that you kind of lost, like you said, that the Cinderella story. Really, the guys who come out of nowhere, you keep it, guys who come on through Q school and they get their card, guys lose their card. They're trying to make these fields smaller, superstar laden for obviously rights fees and tournaments and ratings. And like you said, maybe have a second tier as well, which they kind of already have, right? Like there's tournaments the big guys didn't play.
Right.
And there was,
exactly.
And they have their certain amount. But I get it. Some of those smaller tournaments, like why are we paying this much to be a part of, whether it's, the CBS or NBC broadcasts, and we're not getting the field, and we're not getting even the A broadcasters that the other ones get. So I don't know if they're just trying to create value. My guess is they're trying to create value for the sponsors and whatever TV package they have for the rights holders.
It's almost like where college football is inevitably going to wind up.
Yep,
where
no doubt about it.
The big conferences are going to branch off and do their own thing.
Yep.
And the JMUs and the Tulanes are not going to be involved in the playoff anymore. That's coming. at some point. And so it's just like you want star all the money that you're paying to get the rights fees. And so you want Scotty Scheffler not just there, but you want him to have the best chance of being in contention. And if he's not there, then you have Rory McIlroy, or you have other stars of the game you're guaranteed to get a good leaderboard on Sunday because everybody in the event is a star.
Right, and having no
And that's
cuts.
what they want.
Right, and
But
no
you,
cuts.
but you lose you
Yep.
lose an Aaron Rye, as great a story as that was.
Yep.
You kind of lose an Aaron Rye until Aaron Rye becomes a star himself.
Right.
And so then you wonder, is that avenue still available if those guys aren't playing in quote unquote signature events? Then they'll have to break through in a major in order to become household names who can then play in those signature events.
Right, because you can qualify. Anybody can qualify for the U.S. Open if you're a
Yep.
1.4 handicap or lower. The PGA Championship has some club pros. They used to have a lot. Now they have a small amount
Yep.
of club pros who qualify, and that's all. That sometimes they play really well. That's a cool story. Augusta does a good job inviting like amateur champions or different tour champions around the world, Latin America and Asia.
And if you win on the PGA Tour, you get to go.
Right, automatically. Right, you automatically
Yep.
go to Augusta. And then even the Open Championship, same thing. They have a qualifying system that people can, occasionally get on, Cinderella stories that break through. So yeah, it's really up to the majors. And you would like to see more avenues for, the PGA Tour to allow that. And actually they do a pretty good job. Like now in college, if you have a certain college career and a ranking, you get right on tour now, right? They get you out there because now that some of that is because of Live. That was obviously a competition. So they didn't want to lose those stars to Live and get them qualified right away. Otherwise, they would have signed with Live and not go through the whole Corn Ferry tour as a phenom and someone who had a very good college record and would have had a bad weekend and now suddenly they have nowhere to play. Liv would have scooped them up. So the PGA Tour was good to recognize that. But yeah, I agree. That was kind of the cool part of growing up. But I know the world's changed now. We talked about the competition that all these pro sports leagues have. You want every event to be star-studded. America likes stars. They like a big-time event. We should have the best players playing with the best players and not have their own schedule. Some go this one, some don't go there, some go here. And then have a concentrated schedule where we see them more often, all in the same tournament.
What about this ball rollback? It looks like 2030. I saw a story today that they're going to roll the ball back, and I'm not a big fan of this idea because, particularly for us amateurs, okay. So when you show up to the first tee, you got to ask the guy, "Hey, are you playing the limited ball or are you playing the other ball?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I just don't know if that's the right answer. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree that it was kind of cool that we play the same ball they play. Like that's pretty cool. You can play the same clubs. I mean, their shafts tend to be $1,200 shafts, so we don't quite have the same shafts they have. But the club heads and some of the clubs are pretty similar, if not sometimes identical. The ball is probably going a little too far. They don't want to use two balls. I'm surprised they just don't use a tournament ball if they want to roll it back 10 yards, like you said. But hey, it doesn't matter how far the ball goes. This week at Shinnecock, there'll be two people under par.
Right.
There's a way they can do it to make it more difficult, right?
Absolutely.
They cut all these trees down. That became a big thing in golf, which I get. You can see the course better. It's better for grass and turf. The air moves around. You can see more of the golf course. But not cutting trees down made it way easier for these guys. And now you go to a course that has a tree and they have to go around, or they have some rough. The greens are smaller, a little firmer. You can make it more difficult. But I agree. If this is universal for you and me to lose 7-8 yards, that's significant where we got to use an extra club. And because the pros iron distance aren't that much different than even like mine. I hit an 8-iron 165. That's about most of like their average tour players, probably about the same. Some can hit a 9 or a wedge depending on elevation or downwind, but their drivers go 70 yards more than mine. It's really interesting. Yeah. That's the separator for them is their driver, how much farther it goes than a good amateur single-digit handicap. Their irons are close to the same, but there's something about the driver and how they're able to maximize, and that's where the problem is with the ball. So you could either make the driver head smaller or the tees lower. I think you'd be better off than changing the ball because the ball doesn't go that much farther than me for them than does me for an 8-iron or 7-iron or 9-iron. It's the driver that they're 70, 80 yards farther than me.
Yep.
What clubs do you play? Do you play Cobra?
I just got I had 15 years. I hit AP2 Titleist. I just got the T250s last year. Took me a while. Now I love them. And so that's, like I said, maybe this will last me another 15 years. But yeah, Titleist driver. Got myself a 9-wood and a 7-wood last year that changed my game. What a great club those are. Out of the rough. Height for par threes, on a 200-yard par three. Now I can't hit a 5-iron that high, 6-iron that high, but I hit my 9-wood straight up in the air. It can land soft. So 9-wood, 7-wood. I'm with the old man clubs right now. I got a 4-wood.
7-iron?
What's that?
Your irons begin at a 7-iron?
A 4. No, a 5. So I don't have a 4-iron anymore. My iron start is I have a 7-wood and a 9-wood and a 4-wood. So 4-wood, 7-wood, 9-wood. Iron starts at 5. My first iron's a 5-iron.
Oh, 5-iron. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yep. So
interesting setup.
Yeah. So those are my 14 clubs. Now I got the extra wedge. Pitching wedge 52, 56, 60. And so, but no 4-iron. So that's why the 9-wood replaced that. So, yeah, still love to play. Still enjoy it. Wish I could play a little more. But the back being what it is, it's probably smart that I kind of play and rest, and a few charity events and a few golf trips. I've been to Ireland and Scotland 3 times now. I went to, actually 4 times. I went twice last year. One I took my son, which was a lot of fun for him to experience Scotland and Northern Ireland. And so, I really enjoy that travel part and being with a bunch of guys, 8, 12, 16 guys. Mm-hmm. Put a little money on it.
What about? No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I'm saying Stan knows how much fun that is to go on these little trips, whether they're 4 days or whether they're 7 days, and just so much fun, the laughter, the stories afterwards, the dinners,
absolutely,
and sometimes deep conversations. I went on a golf trip with 12 guys. Torrey Hunter was on the golf trip, the former Twin center fielder, and Torrey is a fascinating guy to talk to. That's a really interesting story, a business guy, and that was so much fun to experience him. And like you said, it's like Stan said, it's like a friend for life now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Scotland. Did you hear where the Scots drank Boston out of beer? Was that what I read?
Unbelievable scene at Fenway Park. They raised a bunch of money for charity because Scotland's playing in Foxborough in the World Cup. So, hey, we got a couple of, these soccer teams play once every 5 days, Hockey, we're playing every other day. They play once a week. So they need something to do. So they go to Fenway Park. There's like 20,000 drunk Scots in the fans, and they are singing the entire game. They said it was the most electric scene in the history of Fenway Park. They're just incredibly fun, and they've really electrified Boston as they wait in between games for the World Cup.
Guys said they drank 4 times as much as they would normally sell in the same time span.
Yeah, well, those
4 times as much.
Well, those studies out now recently say that a lot of people, alcohol sales are way down. Young people aren't drinking. Older people are trying to sleep better. It's like, well, the Scots took care of that. I tell you that. Just recruit some Scots into your city, and sales will go through the roof.
Who's going to win? Is Scheffler going to win? I mean, Sunday's his 30th birthday. He's set up to be, the 7th player to win the Grand Slam. It seems like the script is already written.
I agree. Shinnecock would be a great place to do it. It's a difficult course. Like we said, only 1 or 2 people are going to be under par. The wind is going to be unbelievably, I guess, tomorrow. He has a morning tee time. So if he can go out and shoot little 69, 70, that could really shrink the field. If the wind is what it's supposed to be here in the Northeast, we could see some 80s and 77s in the afternoon. So these morning guys, it kind of reminds you of the Open Championship in the UK, where it really is all about the luck of the tee time. Like if you get a good break, whether it's morning, afternoon, or afternoon, morning, you get the good weather, 2 tee times, because the weather there tends to be very extreme, not as much as PGA or the Masters occasionally, but not quite like the Open Championship. Looks like that's what's going to be for the U.S. Open this year. It's really going to be dependent on your tee time, and Scheffler's got a good one. And obviously just to win the U.S. Open for him would be a huge win, had he not won a major yet. So I'd be curious to see how much it's playing with his kitchen. Like, is it on his mind? That career Grand Slam is a jewel for professional golfers. But for him, it's just winning a U.S. Open. Kind of like Phil, at one point. Unfortunately for him, it was the last one, like it is for Scotty. So it takes on way more bigger importance. Had it been his first one, then it would have been obviously a bigger deal. But same with Mickelson, same with Scheffler. It's the last one. Mickelson never got it. Palmer never got the PGA. It's interesting. These great players who so many, didn't get that one. Sam Snead never got the U.S. Open, and as he went on year after year, he started feeling the pressure more and more. So I'm sure Scheffler would like to kind of squash it now that he's in his prime, because it's only going to get harder to year after year, just like Jordan Spieth. Spieth is the PGA away from the career Grand Slam. But boy, I don't know the way his career is kind of going now. But all you got to do is be hot for 1 week. But Scheffler in his prime at a tough golf course, in Greater New York, it does feel like the script has been written. Like this is his time. But it's about form too. What kind of form are you in? He's had a lot of misses right this year. He's got a bit of a miss off the tee. And a lot of the time is, as a golfer, and Stan knows, when you're going, you'll go good for 6 weeks, like a month. You know where the ball is going to go generally, even for us, our level of player. And then there's times like you don't know what's happening. You're fighting a hook, you're fighting a push. And right now, Scheffler is fighting a little bit. So we'll see if he can kind of pull it together and have the like they say, some of those guys, whether it's Couples or Mickelson, once they go down Magnolia Lane at Augusta, it doesn't matter what their form is. They become a different person. They love it. They embrace it. They know they're going to play well. And whatever demon or whether, swing thought they have that's not going well, for some reason, when they go to Augusta, it's vaccinated and they're fine. But that's not like the U.S. Open's different. I don't think you go to a different venue every year. It's harder to get that kind of feeling.
Yeah, he downplayed it in his media availability yesterday. He sort of downplayed it, said, hey, so if I win this, then my career is over. He's like, no, it's a golf tournament. You want to win. It's the U.S. Open. But, he's like, I just want to be the best version of myself and then just let everything take care of itself. So I think he's kind of downplaying it. But, I mean, that's kind of who he is. He's
exactly
very even-keeled. And, although he has had some dust-ups with his caddy lately.
But, yeah.
he's pretty even-keeled kind of guy. And he's the best player in the world.
Yep.
So I wouldn't bet against him this week.
No, he'll be in the hunt for sure. There's no doubt he'll be top 5, top 10. It's just a matter, you stay away from the 176 that everyone's going to have at Shinnecock this week, right? The guy who shoots 71 to 73 4 days in a row, that's probably going to be the winner. But everyone else is going to have that one day of 75 to 79 that will probably put them out of the run. And who amongst the group is going to, because no one's shooting 64 at Shinnecock,
Right.
So it's just not going to happen. So, you get 67, 68 though, and then that offsets your 76, and then you're back to even par, because that's what they're looking at. They'll all take 1 or 2 under. That's their goal.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like the U.S. Open because they like seeing the pros get beat up, the way we get beat up on the court.
Yeah.
But I kind of like a different offshoot of that is how they deal with adversity.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Not necessarily that because I don't care whether they succeed or fail. I just want to see what's their approach to it.
Yep.
Okay. So you're in this fescue. Okay. What kind of shot are you going to try to hit? How much rope will you give yourself to say, I think I can pull this off?
Yeah.
Like even the most talented players in the world, like what is this situation doing to your strategic approach to this? Like that's the fascinating part of it to me. Like, okay, he's going to try to reach the green from here. Let's see. Or is he going to just take the wedge and live to play another day?
Course management, that's such a fun part of the game. And yeah, we'll see that this week for sure. Like you said, take your bogey, chip out, play for par from the fairway. And we saw Mickelson at Winged Foot make those 2 big mistakes instead of just playing it smart, and it cost him his U.S. Open that he should have, his career Grand Slam. And that's a perfect example of a guy not course managing all the way to the finish line, and it cost him.
Yep.
Yeah, he's sounds like he's got bigger problems than the U.S. Open on his resume right now. Yeah.
Bucci, neither one of us wants to be the one to say goodbye because we could do this for absolute hours, but we don't want to take up your whole evening.
I agree. I just feel like we're at J. Tim's right now, just shooting the shit after a show. You know what I mean? It feels good.
Really great to see you, man. Congratulations on all your success. You've always been just such a solid dude. Thanks for sharing Barry with us, and really was enjoyable. This is our last show, and I couldn't think of a better way to end it than to have you share your time with us, John.
I really appreciate it. I don't know if you remember, Neil, but you did your first Sports Center with me. Your very first one was with me.
I do remember that.
And I can still remember
wait, give me a good story from that one. You remember a good story, either one of you?
I just couldn't believe how loud he was. Wow. When you're anchoring with Chuck Garfien and David Lloyd, they're kind of down there around 6. Here comes Neil. Boom! Wow. So that was. I realized, boy.
I thought if I screamed, nobody would realize he has no idea what the hell he's talking about.
So I tell people, you got to project on television. It mutes everything. You got to be more expressive, and you got to project like the theater. And boy, he was projecting. But no, man, what absolute one of the most unique of all time, Neil. That's why you raised to the heights that you did. And really, you're one of a kind. And it was great to do your first one. Me and Stan doing so many late night 1 a.m.s. College football season especially. I remember those. We'll be in the parking lot. It'd be 3 a.m. and we're still having a discussion about a world topic or something. I remember those in the hallway walking back. It's 3 a.m. and we are like right now, like we are now. There's energy and just talking about these things, an issue or something of the day. And it was again, those are two very distinct, clear memories from 30 years there. It's like, holy mackerel. Now, next year, more than half my life is going to be there next year. I'm at that point now, when I get this time next year. So it's been the people. I won't be nostalgic when I leave. They're just buildings. It's like when you go to a bar and you look at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and realize there's no magic here. The magic is the people and the music and the vibe. But when everybody leaves, it's just a building. And that's why, like, when I leave ESPN, I would just go out the back door to my car and drive away. I won't be sad. I won't be sentimental because they're just buildings. And it's all the people, the Feldies, the Jason Jacksons, just, as you know, we go on and on, just a roster of people and memories and laughter. That's what I remember, and that's why, like I said, when leaving the company is it's just a corporation, as we know, and in the end, it doesn't mean much, and we're just there, we're just passengers for a while, part timers, and we move on. So
and you did it, and you did it. You know what I mean? You did it.
Yep.
You know, you did it, and it's like you don't do anything forever.
Nope.
And you did it.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I hope I live to 100. I hope I got 40 more years on this planet. So there's a lot you can do in 30 years or 20 years accomplished. And if you really, put your mind to it, like I did this, right? When I'm 15, 16, 17 years old and would dream about being on ESPN. And then and when I got there, it's like, I can't believe this. I'm on the moon. It was like getting to the moon to work at ESPN. I couldn't even imagine. Then I'm there. It was just unbelievable. And then, then just try to stick around, and I have a young family, so that was a lot of pressure there. So to keep that job every year, the first contract was a 2-2. They had a 2-year option after 2 years, and so you got to sweat that one. Luckily, I didn't have any more of those again. Then I had a couple 1-year deals, like on year 8 and 9, and so it was. But then since then it's been okay. You get a little cushion there, and now it's like, okay, I think I'm okay now. I got a 401k, and like I said, I'll be all right now. But looking back then, like I said, when I got to ESPN, all I had was a Dodge Neon and no savings account. Like I had net worth of 0. So and a wife and 2 kids. So it was something. So it was fun to build it. But that's why I'm also grateful for ESPN. I put my kids through college. I bought a house and all that stuff too because of the paycheck from them. So certainly I'm not a bitter person. I realize the benefits, and you guys know the benefits of working at ESPN and the free golf and the good seats at the restaurant occasionally. Not like we're rock stars, but we do have a cool little slice in America in pop culture, right? Like a little mini celebrity, which at times is very comforting and very cool. It doesn't happen a lot, but people are always very nice, and it's never overbearing. But it is neat you hear those stories. I'm sure you guys hear them now too. The one I hear now is Man, I had cereal watching you in the morning when I was in middle school, right? That's the one you hear,
Yeah.
like watching the morning re-airs, right? I hear that at first it was like, God, I'm old, but now it's like I like that. Like we were part of their lives.
Yeah, there was a guy on Twitter just the other day. He said Stan Verrett and Neil Everett are the best sports center tandem ever. Argue with a wall. And I'm walking down the street here in Chicago just the other day, and like I haven't been on in a year. And this guy comes over to me, crosses the street. Says, "Hey man, how's it going? Man, I watch you every night." And I'm like,
No,
you're
you
in time
don't.
warp right now." And then I was at the Hollywood Bowl Saturday watching Wyclef Jean perform.
Wow.
And I got my phone out watching Game 5 of the NBA Finals, and I get up to go to the bathroom. And this guy goes, "Hey man, how you get a night off during the finals?" And so people, like you said, people connect with it.
Yep.
They connect with it.
And I remember when Ian Page left ESPN for the Golf Channel. For 3 years, people thought he still worked at ESPN. So Stan, you got 3 to 4 more years you guys have of this. Yeah, I'm still there. Still there.
See you tonight.
We've got chat people. We've got an open chat going while we have this conversation. So we'll just end it with this one. Sure. NJ2AK says salute Bucci. So John, right. Evan Williams, and Puddles the Duck. Thanks for
you bet.
Thanks for hanging with us, man.
Love you, buddy. I really enjoy this. I don't, as you guys have all kind of left, John Anderson, the latest. I kind of don't have a bud at ESPN really anymore. Van Pelt's in Washington, D.C. now, so don't really have that bud, that connection with all you guys. I really miss it. It's a void in my life for sure. Didn't really make a lot of friends outside work in Connecticut and here. Like all my friends were at ESPN. And so it's definitely, I'm a bit more hollow these days because not having the human interaction with great men like you. So you've enriched my life, decorated my life, and really I'm very grateful for our friendships throughout the years, late night, all different hours. And right now, this was a great connection for me. I kind of the last couple of days have actually been kind of down. I'm not sure even why. It's like, why do I feel like this? But this has really warmed my heart. You've done a lot for me. I appreciate you.